with Bonte and Shasky.
Oh, man. Pam Moore is going to join us in moments here. An absolute icon. Evening anchor for KRON 4 for 32 years. She arrived in KRON 4 back in March of 1991, and she's been here since. Graduated from the University of Michigan. She's a Wolverine. She's worked in Detroit, Dallas, Louisville, L.A., Boston. But she's been here for 32 years, so she's one of ours, and she's going to step away from the anchor deck. She'll still do some special projects from KRON 4, but what an absolute icon. We're going to get her on. We'll talk about some whistle tips. We'll talk about Gary Rightness. We'll talk about whether or not she ever wanted to get in the sports.
That's like an alarm clock.
It's like an alarm clock. We'll just go woo-woo. And we had the fake bub rub on, and he started singing for us.
Well, no, it was the real bub rub.
You think that was the real bub rub?
100%.
Why?
I mean, clearly the guy was out of his mind.
You think that was the real bub rub on our show?
Absolutely. You see, you don't watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The de-evolution of cricket, I think that's what we were witnessing.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if that was the real bub rub. I don't know.
Bub
a lot
rub?
of people Bub rub. He started singing, and once Lubman gets off the phone,
The singing was great.
the singing was awesome.
Singing was great.
But I don't know if that's the real bub rub. He had no idea he was on the airwaves. Matt Nahiga will tell you it was the real bub rub because he had a full conversation with him.
How about Rob Parker saying that Matt Nahigan got him his first job?
That's unbelievable. That's unreal. I did not know that.
Nor did I.
Matt Nahigan's a legend in these streets.
He really is.
I mean, he's on Twitter. His Twitter account is buzzing right now.
I wanted to ask him at some point. I don't know where he is, but I wanted to ask him, like, honestly, did you think overtime would turn into this?
That's true. That's true. Well, in order to get the morning slot, we needed to be attached to Kate Scott.
Stapled. Like, we were those expiring contracts you have to staple
It's like,
to good draft picks.
We don't want to fire them. Just throw them in there with Kate Scott. By the way, Kate Scott, you talk about a come up. Ever since she's left the show, she has not looked back.
I know.
She's not going to call preseason games for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, so go Hawks are in the future.
Yeah, go Hawks. She's going to be raising 12 flags. And she's going to get the call to call the Women's World Cup coming up.
Wow.
So before we bring in
Congratulations, Kate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm so happy for her. Before we bring in Pam Moore, do you have the song from the fake or real bub rub?
We're not
sure. Do you
sure.
have that up? We're not sure if it, but let's play the song that he sung on this show.
Well, let me hear one of your
So let me hear a note then.
Yeah,
if you're a singer, then you better be good, bub rub.
Check this out. I wrote this from the top of my head. Just hear it out before you judge it.
Okay.
And this is to all the fans out there. It goes, I don't go to church on Sundays. No, I don't. I don't fall on my knees and pray. No, I don't. I might don't read my Bible, but I praise my Lord I praise my Lord every day. He's okay. See, I ain't got to ask him no questions. No, I don't. Because he ain't going to tell me no lies. But if you listen to my story, you see, I'm trying to testify. I don't want to die. He helps me on my journey. See, I ain't ready for that. That's the kind of stuff I do.
I don't know if you're bub rub or not, but this is the most incredible segment in the history of 95-70 game.
Well, I had to tell.
All right, let's bring in the legend, Pam Moore. And we were going to get her on that week to talk about the whistle tips, but bigger news dropped. Pam Moore, of course, been with KRON 4 since 1991. Our television sets will not be the same once she steps away from the Acres sets. I'm dead serious, Pam. We had to get you on. We got a bevy of questions for you. Pam, first of all, good morning and congratulations
to you and Shasky. I mean, thank you so much for asking me to be on the show. You know I'm not a morning person because I've worked nights for 32 years.
Oh, yeah.
You're a legend.
But I'm so happy to be able to talk to you this morning. Thank you for asking me on.
It's long overdue. I know we share texts. It's long overdue. 32 years of KRON 4. You've been in our television sets for so many years. I was lucky enough to meet you in Boston back in 2014 with the great Barbara Rogers and my boy Evan Barnes.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite photos ever. I'll share it with the crowds out there. And I was like, Pam Moore, you're looking at me like, who the hell is this little young whippersnapper? I was like, I watch
and
you
then
all the
remember
time.
how you used to come into the station and do, analysis with Gary and Yeah, we have some tenure behind our relationship, Monte.
Oh, absolutely, Pam. So, why the Bay Area? Why'd you settle here? Because you worked in all type of markets: Detroit, Dallas,
I
Louisville,
have
L.A., Boston.
when I got the job offer here. I was working in Boston at the time, and I wasn't planning. I knew I wasn't going to stay in Boston. And when I got the job offer here and came to the Bay Area, I felt like I was home. You know, sometimes you find that a place feels like it's the right place, and this certainly has been that for me.
Yeah, you know, you look back at a career and everybody wants to go to all the great things and whatnot, but like they never see the struggle behind the scenes. Me and B talk about this, like early going on this show, we were ready to kill each other. And we loved each other. We were trying really hard, but we were failing miserably, right? And so was there ever a moment or a period of time where you doubted yourself? Because 32 years, you had to have some ups and downs, no?
Oh, my gosh. I doubted myself many times, all throughout the 32 years. There's all kinds of times when you doubt yourself, feel like, oh, gosh, I could have done that better. Different mistakes that I've made, or I've grown. This Bay Area has allowed me to grow through those mistakes and through those growing pains that all of us experience at work or in your personal life. It's just a part of, and that's why when you find a place that feels like home and you feel nurtured in that place, you want to stay. And I got lucky. I really did, because, a lot of people don't get a chance to work in one place for that long and still love it. And so making the decision to step away was not an easy one, but I'm just also looking forward to the next phase of my life, still here in the Bay Area. And I'm hoping it will unfold just as wonderfully.
Pam, it's interesting. I mean, I know not as much as you at all when it comes to like the media thing. Me and B watched you every single night, and I think of I call the luminaries on television when we were growing up. Dennis Richmond, yourself.
Obviously, Dennis, absolutely.
Gary Radnich, you know what I mean?
Wilson.
There's so many different ones over the years. And like, behind the scenes, did you ever think about jumping ship? Because being with one company for that long, I'm sure some of the other companies in the market were trying to lure you away. Maybe other regions trying to lure you away. We know the affiliation kind of went away for KRON at one point. Like, did you ever get the temptation to bounce?
I did not. And I know that sounds like, oh, come on, Pam, be honest. I'm being honest. I did not. Now, I'm going to tell you, there were a lot of ups and downs because the station originally was owned by a local family for so many years from its inception. And then when the family sold it, we've had a number of different owners, like maybe even 4 or 5 companies have owned KRON since the original owners had it for decades. And that was tough. We had some really tough periods. One time it was a company that wasn't local, several times companies that weren't here, people who weren't here and didn't know the Bay Area, yet they wanted to craft a newscast and craft a station that wasn't who this region of people is, to create something that was maybe more cookie cutter, to slash, all the stations have dealt with layoffs and things like that. So there have been some lean years for sure. But I just, once you find a place that worked, it worked for me. I was very fortunate. And I don't take that for granted, through the ups and the downs, because you're going to get that wherever you are. So I managed to just, survive and get to this point where I can look back and say, boy, this has been a great run for me.
No, it has been. Pam Moore here on the Morning Rush on 95.7. The Game will still be part of KRON 4, but it's going to step away from the anchor desk after 32 years. And we got to ask you about Uncle Gary. First of all, did you ever think about jumping into sports? Because I know you're a Michigan Wolverine. They love their sports up there in Ann Arbor. You're from Detroit. Did you ever think about jumping into sports or leaving the news desk at all?
I never thought about jumping into sports, but I always enjoyed talking with Gary. Was the best part of the newscast when we would get to the sports department. Because and then during Gary's reign, the sports was kind of different on local newscasts than it is now. He had a lot of time to talk and banter and play and make jokes, and was such a big personality. Gary, I always say, was like a bad big brother to me. We would fight on air, off air. And I just love him. He really added to who we were at KRON during his tenure. He became so much a part, his personality was so much a part of our identity. And from him and Pete Wilson, who I started with him, he had a great start, and it's gone, for me, has become the same to work now with the crew that I'm with Ken and Lawrence and, Vicky and Grant, and Jason, we have a great relationship, and I think people can see that in their own way when they watch a newscast, whether people really care about and enjoy one another. And I couldn't have been luckier in that regard.
What's the thing that you take the most pride in? As you look back and you're kind of soaking everything in. I mean, we're teasing around with the bub rub thing, and I know that's probably virally funny. Like, you know what I mean? But like, for real, when you look back on it, like, what are the things, there's probably many, but what are some of the seminal things that you like, man, I'm glad I'm being remembered for X, Y, and Z?
Oh, man. That's a great question. I've had, doing the news in a local market, you build a relationship with your neighbors. You know, this is my community, too. I'm telling stories that are affecting me and my loved ones. And I think that people would feel that they could trust me, that I was trying to be honest about everything at all, all the time. Some of the profiles that I've been able to do and will fortunately be able to continue to do on people that I've met and interviewed. There's so many things that I can't necessarily pick out one story or one event, but it's been a fascinating opportunity. I tell you, on the Bub Rub thing, more people, all I did was introduce that story. Was the reporter. I have had more people over the years create memes and include me. All I did was throw it to the story. That Bub Rub story has just taken off. It has a life of its own. It's hilarious how that took off. And
we don't know if we were
a lot of fun.
Pam, we don't know if we were duped, if that was the real Bub Rub or not, but did you hear that song coming in?
I did. Whoever that was has a great voice.
Feel me?
That was so cool. I don't know who that was. I don't know what happened to Bub Rub and Little Sis. Remember Little Sis?
Yes.
Sis.
Oh, yeah.
We remember Little Sis.
The best is at the end of the clip when the car's driving away and almost whaps about 6 cars and then blows the stop sign.
That story has had a life of its own ever since. And people just love that story. And again, all I did was introduce it, but I got looped into his celebrity.
Hey, Pam, you know what's funny is like the people that love you, it really does. I know you because you're just a normal person. Like I know it means a lot to me and B when people come and go, hey, I listen, I really appreciate and all that stuff. But then there's the other side of it. There's the navigation of the haters, okay? And back in the day, it was phone calls and emails or fax or letters or whatever. Now it's obviously the social media era. What would you give, like, as a recommendation? If this was a class of young journalists, how do you navigate the haters?
Well, I don't, I'm not really on social media. I mean, I check it through. Either friends will say, hey, this has happened, people are saying this, people are saying that, but I don't live on social media. Yeah. And that's what I would tell anybody for your mental health, because there's always going to be somebody who's not going to like, I think, let me say it this way. I can take any criticism, observations that are said, that really offer to augment and make me a better person, a better reporter, a better whatever. All of us can take and deserve some kind of observation, somebody who helps you be better. But the haters, I don't want to hear that because it doesn't add to my life. And I think that's the main thing that I would tell young people is kind of be discerning about how much of that you consume, because it can be more detrimental to your growth than helpful. And I just don't do social media that much. I know that's not the best thing to say.
Right. No.
So I do have to say that because my friends have been sharing and the station has been sharing with me all of the wonderful comments from the people in our area, in our community, who've been watching me. Some when they were little, probably like you, when they were just little kids. And I can't tell you what that means to me. Now that has been overwhelming to just hear so many wonderful comments, and that means a great deal to me. So
no doubt. I mean, you eat for free. I have a saying that you eat for free here in the Bay Area because you are a legend, and it gets overwhelming with the love or whatnot. But I think you're really great at your job, and we grew up with you, and that's all we know. Pam Moore, my girlfriend's from Belarus, and her grandmother is 86 years old, and all she does is watch KRON 4. So when you announce your retirement, no
doubt. He said this just the other day behind the scenes to me.
Yeah, so she loves it. By the way, Jason Dumas, what do you think about we've had Dumas in studio. We love Jason Dumas. He is something else, huh?
I love Jason. I feel like he's a little brother to me. He's really growing and has so much more growth to do. I think he's going to just, wow. I think Jason's going to really take off. I mean that. He's got quite a future. Even when I think about Gary, and again, that was a different time, you know, in terms of big personalities on television. And of course, Gary was on radio. You guys, I don't know if you remember Johnny the Gout Man.
Of course.
Like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so the sports guys don't have as much leeway to show all of that, but it seeps through with Jason. And he manages to show that personality, and he has some really great observations about sports, I think, his analysis, too. So I think he's got a really bright future. And he's still a young guy, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, what's changed the most from 91 to where we are now in terms of just behind the scenes, maybe the presentation, the industry as a whole? Like, clearly it's changed a lot, right? And I know the old timers, the past was always better. I don't know. Maybe you think now is better. I don't know. But what's changed the most, you think?
The technology.
Yep.
The technology has affected everything. How we cover the news. Instead of being sent somewhere, now they just, you know, get a reporter on satellite to tell a story. It's just the technology has changed. Like it has changed all of our lives in so many different ways. It's changed the newsroom too. But the other thing that has stayed the same, pretty constant, I think, in local news is that the connection that the people in the newsroom on the air make with the people in the community. And that still matters, just like you guys are making a connection with the people in our community.
Right.
People still like that. You know, that means something to folks. And that's nothing to be taken lightly. That relationship between your listeners, between my viewers, that is crucial to, you know, being real and being what we should be in terms of giving back to serving our community. That's the way I look at it.
You know, Pam, you're great at what you're doing. Do you feel blessed that you didn't have to try to come up in his game through the social media area? Because it is tough doing the social media stuff with somebody.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It is tough. And that's why, you know, you asked about what to tell young journalists is not to focus on that, not to be driven, not to let social media comments drive your career. Even the good comments, you have to, you know, take everything with, I don't want to say a grain of salt, but and keep things in balance. I think that's the most important thing.
All right, Pam.
But it's hard to be under the scrutiny of everybody, people you've never even met, making comments about this or that, or how you handle this or that all the time.
Yeah, well,
Trust me,
Bonte
Pam,
got to work with his biggest hater.
Yeah,
me,
I know.
You know what I mean?
He is my
I'm
biggest
knocking
hater.
him every
And
minute
we've
I
got
can
the
get.
YouTube chat. They're pro Shasky. They're anti Bonte.
Yeah, you know.
We got the Comcast business text line. They're texting stuff. It's all over the place,
Hey,
Pam.
Pam, I don't know enough about you, though. Before you get on out of here, can we rat-a-tat-tat some fun things real quick?
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite movie? What's your favorite movie?
Oh, I love movies. I have too many.
A couple.
Godfather.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh.
Pam,
Favorite musician?
All right.
I like a group called Maze.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite restaurant here in the Bay Area or around the world?
Oh, so many restaurants. You're not gonna nail me on that one.
Well, what kind of cuisine do you like?
What kind of what?
Cuisine.
Favorite course or favorite meal?
Yeah.
Italian.
Oh, Italian. Interesting. Godfather, Italian.
Yeah,
Wow.
online
interesting.
shopping?
It's all starting to make sense.
Online shopping, or you got to go walk around, you know, and touch the
Wait,
material?
hold on. It's Pam Moore. She can't go around. Paparazzi's around. She's got to do the online shopping, right?
Come on, no. That's nothing. I don't have to worry about any paparazzi. Believe me, I'm just a part of this community. I like to shop in person because then you don't have to send it back if you don't like it. You can just. But I'm not a big online shopper. My girlfriends, most of my girlfriends are, and so they're trying to lure me into this is so much easier, Pam. But I used to enjoy just going in, strolling through the store.
Who's
Not so
somebody
much that anymore?
Wow.
Who's somebody from outside media that you admire?
You mean as a somebody in my personal circle?
Yeah.
Or you
Or who's maybe who
An
did you look up to?
inspiration.
Who did you look up to?
Inspiration,
What
things
inspired
like
you to
that.
get into this business?
Yeah.
My dad, when I was growing up, you know, he was an avid reader. He always read, you know, newspapers were big. We had 2 dailies that would come all the time, and he read them from front to back. And when I was growing up, I was very curious about that. And then as I got older and I started reading the newspaper, which of course now people would be reading online, but we would debate and argue about issues, and that's and then I was very active in community organizations growing up in Detroit, and then it just kind of rolled from there. I would do things at church that would be in front of the congregation, so that helped build my confidence as a kid in terms of being in front of people. All of those things combined when I was growing up in Detroit really contributed to me wanting to be a part of news, particularly working in the community with community organizations.
If you weren't doing the news, what could you envision yourself doing?
Wow. You're good.
See? There's a reason I'm the backbone to this show.
Oh, my
and
God.
He's the face.
See, Pam. See, here you go, Pam.
Oh, gosh, I'm good. Let me see. When I was young, I used to think I'd be a social worker before I got into news. I thought I'd be a social worker, like working in Detroit.
Right.
I grew up with Motown, but I couldn't sing. I thought, if I could sing, I'd be in, Motown. But I got into news early. I got interested in news early. So it's been a constant for me.
Well, you do a lot of things in the community. I want you to speak about that because I met you at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention.
Right,
I know Barbara Rogers is here in the Bay Area National Association of Black Journalists. Of course, so kind of talk about some of the things. I know you did some work with breast cancer or whatnot, so kind of touch on some of those things, Pam, that you did in the community.
Well, the group that I probably devote most of my time off air to is EOIDC, the East Oakland Youth Development Center, and I have we have they have a summer program, and I've always every summer tried to take kids on field trips and whatnot. When we hit the pandemic, that had to, of course, weren't able to do that, so we're starting back up, and I always start every summer program with taking a group of middle schoolers over to Marcus Books in Oakland, which is a historic black bookstore on the West Coast, actually,
right.
And buy everybody a book, and then they have to write a book report over the summer, and then I take them somewhere for lunch, and then we give out book awards on the best book reports. And so we've been to many restaurants. Like last year, we went to Matt Horn's Barbecue.
Ooh, yeah.
And they take the kids, and I have the owner come and talk to the kids about running a business and give them a tour. And so I do a lot. I try to do work with the OIDC, but I've also volunteered for other things. And you mentioned breast cancer. That was our Friends of Faith group that many of the women here in the Bay Area in media were involved in, a group named after Faith Fancher, who worked at KTVU. She was a reporter who was diagnosed with breast cancer. So that organization existed for 20 years, raised money for low-income breast cancer survivors. And the rest is kind of like doing MC work and whatnot, which I'm sure both of you, get out in the community, just being at events and participating and supporting other organizations like Girls Inc. and, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, just a number of other, organizations that over the years I've been, a part of their programs or their events.
Pam, on behalf of everybody in the Bay Area, we love you. Thank you. I judge people by how they treat people out in the real world when no one's looking. And I get so many texts right now. Pam's been so sweet when I ran into her at Whole Foods or when I ran into her over here or there. But on the way out the door, we have to be self-serving. Are you surprised by the come up of Bonte Hill across from me over here?
Don't do this.
Are you impressed by the young man's come up?
He is the best. Come on, Jesse Bonte is the best. I'm telling you.
He's sucking up to me after taking shots.
Pam, let me tell you. Thank God I'm attached to him.
Taking shots at me all day long, every single day. I can drill him because he's the fanalist, Pam. See, he gets to get it. See, this is the cool part about being in media, right? You come up through the journalism schools and you do things the right way. Then you get this fan who's Joe Shasky, right? And he's the most passionate fan, but he's allowed to flip-flop every single day, and I have to deal with that. And it's not fair to say, well, you know what, it's Shasky being Shasky. But if I'm wrong about something, Pam, I'm going to hear about it all. So I'm taking your advice. Less social media, less Twitter.
Make a good team. No, I mean this. I'm not just saying it because you asked me to come on your show. You guys make a great team, and it's fun to listen to you. And I love, because you also do informative and uplifting stories, like the thing you did yesterday on the mental health. So
appreciate
perfect,
that. Man.
I love those interviews, and they really, again, you're having fun. You're having a lot of fun, but you're also giving important information for our community, and this is our community.
Yeah, no, we take pride. We take pride in being from San Francisco and being two homegrown guys who know this city and know this area, the Bay Area, that is. And so we take a lot of pride in that, and we like to have fun, man. We don't like to do the normal radio. Hey, it's Bonzi and Chasky.
Let me tell you about what's coming up next. We're going to talk to the bullpen coach.
We're in the quiet taste. I tell people, Pam, all the time. They're like, oh, man, we wake up and listen to you guys. I said, boy, you got to find another hobby, man.
My wife don't even listen.
Well, Pam, enjoy. I know we're still going to see you around, but 32 years in the Bay Area alone. Alone in the Bay Area. So we wanted to give you respect because we're watching from afar, and we appreciate what you've done over the years and what you continue to do here in the Bay Area.
Well, you are so kind. Thank you both very, very, very much. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Pam. Pam Moore, everybody. Round of applause. That was a lot of fun right there. Pam Moore right there. Pam Moore, KRON 4, retiring after 32 years. She eats for free in the Bay Area.